I'm very excited to demo the CloudFrame Modernization Suite today. It includes two products, Atlas and Code Navigator, which are going to serve as two ultimate tools for an organization's legacy modernization needs. These products use a deterministic AI model, and Gen AI access for Atlas is mandatory, while optional for Code Navigator. These are installed entirely on your system, whether you use Gen AI through your organization or maybe through a VPC using Azure AI or any other cloud provider within your firewall. Once installed, the CloudFrame suite can be accessed via browser, as I've done here. In today's demo, we are going to walk through the full examination of one application using the CloudFrame suite, exhibiting both Atlas and Code Navigator. We will see the guided journey to ingest an application, analyze it, and generate both business and technical documentation while leveraging the Atlas AI SME along the way. Then we will move to Code Navigator to transform the legacy application code to modern, performant, and 100% functionally equivalent Java. So I'll go ahead and log in here. Now, the currency trading application that we are modernizing today is a typical production batch application with COBOL programs, JCL's control cards, which includes IEFBR14 and IEBGener, DFSort, and more. This application handles currency trading, order matching, acceptance, and settlement. And as you can see, we have two views, application and assessment. I'll click on application first. And as you can see, currently we have no application, so we can start an assessment for this application. I'll go ahead and click start. And so let's start our tour focusing on the right side of the screen. So via machine learning, algorithms, and patterns, Atlas is able to recognize your legacy code with JCL and compiler components shown on the screen. We have an option here to download a JCL that will allow your mainframe developer to run and convert your EBCDIC code to binary, which can then be uploaded in the next screen as an artifact. This is not required, as artifacts can be uploaded as either EBCDIC or ASCII, but binary code is much more reliable here, as many times there are special characters in EBCDIC legacy code. And so at this point, we will proceed to the artifact upload. Here we can upload a zip file, generally containing program compiler listing, JCL, JCL PROC, and control cards. So this zip file contains those, and I'll go ahead and upload this. And so CloudFrame is unique in our modernization tactics by collecting these additional components outside of just the code itself. And this is key to number one, building a very accurate underlying knowledge graph, and number two, to provide 100% functional equivalency and numeric precision on code that may be transformed by Code Navigator in future steps. At this point, if you do happen to miss something, whether it is JCL, PROC, COBOL program, or control card, not to worry. The Atlas wizard will be guiding you throughout the journey and detect what is missing and make sure it's resolved. And now that I've uploaded this zip file, we want to validate and make sure that nothing got corrupted. So I'll go ahead and click validate here. If I click show details now, we can see here that there's 22 JCL, 10 compiler listing, 22 control card, etc. And when I click proceed, at this point, Atlas conducts a deep analysis on the artifacts while simultaneously running a simulation on the data as if it's running in production. And by doing this, it can figure out where the dead code resides, unused variables, inefficiencies in your program, while also trying to figure out machine learning patterns, business inferences, and more. And if something was missing at this point, the Atlas wizard would have taken us back and forth to make sure we did have all the required components. And at this point, it is 100% sure that everything it needs is available and even generates a report for us. So here we can see all the JCL jobs and COBOL programs available to us. And so if I stop and click on this JCL here and scroll down, we can see here that in step one, we have a JCL calling a COBOL program, which is then calling subsequent programs. And while we're looking at a simpler JCL here, Atlas is able to fully conceptualize and provide graphical data for all the programs, however large they are, whether they are 10 steps, 50 steps, or 100 steps. And so additionally, we're able to see a program call chain graph, program assessment summary, file information, database CRUD matrix, cyclomatic complexity, MQ module tables. And so Atlas will figure out just about everything, how many programs, how many lines of codes, how many SQLs, commented lines, and give you a full analysis on your programs and JCLs. Now moving to our blueprint feature. At this point, after uploading our artifacts and working with the Atlas wizard, our knowledge graph has been updated and the Atlas AI SME has become activated as well. It is connected to both the CloudFrame knowledge graph and the LLM, which enables you to ask any question relevant to your system. And once the knowledge graph is created, it should be able to answer questions much better than any human could. And since we are using a deterministic AI model, it will answer you consistently. You won't get a different answer each time you ask. So we can ask the Atlas AI SME, tell me how exchange names are derived. And so at this point, it will go figure out that the program names and where they're created. It found that there's a program called TRDPB000, which has an evaluate COBOL statement, and the LLM is able to determine that there's an exchange statement where this EUR is for Europe, and similarly CID is Canadian, and CNY is the Chinese currency. And additionally, how it is calculated. We can also ask the Atlas AI SME, explain how currency settlement is done. And so at this point, it is able to tell us that this program validates buy and sell side orders, checks money account and security account stats, and any business question, technical questions, questions about program files or where vSAM file is being used, where the interest calculation is being done. You can ask the Atlas SME pretty much anything you want, and it's going to give you accurate information. Now, the blueprint functionality of Atlas also shows us the business components if we click on any of the programs, explaining in detail what is going on in each step. So I'll scroll down to our COBOL programs here and go ahead and look at TRDPB000. So as you can see, it has used the LLM to create a high-level summary of what this program does, what a business analyst would prefer as key business objectives, and additionally, the scope of operations, a nice functional flow diagram as well. Now, on the left panel, if we click on business requirements, we are also provided with this subsequent set. And this gives us a high-level view of how the core functionality works. And this is quite significant because it gives teams instant visibility into how jobs and programs are connected without needing months of manual discovery. It allows architects and developers to plan modernization waves with confidence, reduce dependency on retiring SMEs, and avoid costly surprises during migration. Some of the names we see here, like buy-side and sell-side order, are coming from the LLM. And this is a type of business taxonomy that an SME has the option to correct and curate, which ultimately becomes another enhancement to this underlying knowledge graph, which is going to, again, become your underlying single source of truth. Now, additionally, we're able to see business data about order acceptance and initial processing. And so here, we're able to see how some of the calculations are done for the buy-side orders, as well as the SQL use for these. And similarly, we're able to see the same for our sell-side orders and initial validation. And additionally, we have our technical and data spec. So here we're able to see the input parameters. We're able to see file IO details, which in this case, we don't have any, but if there were some, they would be present here. We're able to see the database interactions, and a CRUD matrix is generated for us. We're able to see the columns and then the scope around them as well if we click on any of these table names. We're able to see the full SQL cursor definitions, and additionally, frequency, schedule, and dependencies. And so here, Atlas is making an educated guess on the way the program should work. But of course, again, the SME has an option to correct or adjust this as they see fit. Now, 90% of the time, Atlas is going to be very accurate, and that's not going to be necessary. But the SME does have the option to make corrections. So here, while we don't have any corrections in place, if the SME did want to make some corrections, which to reiterate, might not be necessary, they're going to be able to see the date and time that the correction was made, as well as previously what the original Atlas documentation was, along with what the SME correction is. Now, if I click out of here and move to business docket, this is the latest feature of Atlas. which is going to take all the uploaded artifacts along with the data generated from Blueprint and actually create a fully comprehensive business requirement document with the click of one button. So I'll go ahead and click the button. And so as you can see, it covers all the key components in a BRD, including system design, key business objectives, business rules, security, audit, compliance requirements, and more. And so I'll go ahead now and preview this document. And so once again here, while it's most of the time not going to be necessary, we do have the option for the SME to add a correction if they do not deem the information to be correct. Most of the time, that would be something around business taxonomy, where maybe there's something specific to your organization or a specific domain. And additionally, we're able to see an executive summary that's generated here, a background, key business objectives, business requirements, a system design overview, which is quite detailed over here with the file inventory, developer notes, operational traces, and more. We're able to see core business flows and process and descriptions. And this is going to also generate another set of diagrams, which again, it takes very long to create manually. And so coming from a software engineering background where I was working on mainframe modernization in a variety of facets, this BRD overall is a lot more detailed. It's clear, it's easy to understand. Compared to any BRD I've ever gotten from a business analyst, this really presents a very significant value component of Atlas. Now, one more thing I'd like to highlight here is that the BRD that's generated here is holistic to the entire application, whereas previously in our previous chevron, our blueprint feature was specific to each program or JCL and outlining the flow of those. Now, if we X out of here. Now, coming back to our guided journey of code understanding in Atlas, at this point, the legacy code has been ingested, business and technical documentation has been generated, and we can now query the Atlas AI SME, and we have a very high level of confidence in the accuracy of the system, which is amazing. Now, if an organization has already uploaded information on their naming convention standards, then Atlas will already have this knowledge as well and update them across the entire system. And that's something that's consistent with any SME correction that's made. If you make any update, that's going to become holistic across the entire system. And if they have not uploaded either the naming convention or any other documentation, we do have a safety checkpoint here to go ahead and make these updates, and we have the ability to attach this documentation. I'll go ahead and click Analyze here. Now, if I click this, all the jobs and programs modules are automatically categorized by business objective. And in this case, here we can see that we've gotten a pretty accurate understanding of the application here. As we can see, it's named it Trading and Settlement as the application. And this is a very significant feature because it gives the team an instant understanding of what the system actually does in business terms, something that usually takes weeks of SME review and manual analysis. It allows architects to sequence modernization by business domain, for example, modernizing settlement programs separately from trading programs. This also helps compliance teams map risk and controls by process and enables business stakeholders to understand and validate the scope of low-level programmatic approach without actually reading COBOL code. Now here we have a few different categories. We have reporting, acceptance, settlement, and common module. Within all of these, we're going to have JCL and then subsequent COBOL programs corresponding. And so other than reporting, settlement, and acceptance, anything that falls into more than one category has been identified as a common module. And 99% of the time, Atlas is going to get this correct. I'm just going to go ahead and click Publish Domains and move forward. But if I do happen to want to make a change, that is also very easy to do. So I'll go ahead and click Edit here. Now we have, again, the option to change the application name, which in this case we will not because it's quite accurate. Go ahead and click Next. And now here, I'm going to be able to drag this application over. And so let's say, for example, that we determine that this JCL should not only belong to an acceptance category, but it should be for more than one of these, maybe acceptance and settlement. So I can easily now take this and drag this over to our common module. And now it's going to keep that categorization this way. If I go ahead and click Save Changes here, now here we're going to be able to see what was originally done by Atlas along with the corrected SME categorization here. So here in red, we can see the original. And if I scroll down, in green over here, we're able to see the correction. Now, if we're satisfied at this point, we can go ahead and click Publish Changes. And so at this point now, we have exited Atlas, and we are back into our CloudFrame Modernization Suite dashboard, where here we can see that now within our application view, we do have applications. And now we are ready to actually transform our code using Code Navigator.